Alright guys, so this is going to be part 2 of the How to Build a Track Car series. In part 1, I went over the tires and brakes. So now that you have about a few track days under your belt with your new tire and brake setup, you are looking for another modification to do to your car to make it handle better on the track. So one of the biggest things you could do to your car to make it just perform phenomenally on the track and make just a huge difference from stock is a good set of coilovers. So do some research and invest in a good set of coilovers. There are so many brands out there, BC, Tyne, K-Sport, and those are just the 3 I can think of off the top of my head. There are so many out there. Do your research, go on the forums, figure out what works best for your car. Once you get your coilovers, install them, and then go back on those forums, depending on what car you have, and find the right alignment specs. Now basically, every different car has different alignment specs that just work well. For example, my car, it likes 1.5 degrees of camber in the front, and basically what camber is when the wheel sticks out like this just a little bit, and the rear likes about 0.5 degrees of camber, negative camber that is, in the rear. And then everything else, there's toe caster, you can find that online, that is just beyond my knowledge. Now coilovers are a good chunk of change. My coilovers were about $1,000, but they are really good coilovers. I have BC BR coilovers. Made a huge difference from stock. It's unbelievable. Now since we're covering suspension parts, there are 2 more things you can do to your car that are relatively inexpensive that are part of the suspension components. Now what those are strut tower braces. What strut tower braces are is your coilover, which is technically the strut, bolts up on top to the strut towers, and there are 2 of them, one here and one on the other side. And basically what a strut tower brace is basically a bar that goes across and attaches to those strut tower braces and basically just stiffens the whole chassis up and reduces body roll by a lot. So you get a front one and you get a rear one to stiffen up your chassis just a little bit more. And those are relatively inexpensive. Maybe you can get 2 good ones depending on the type of car you have for about under 500 bucks. That's definitely a decent option you can put on your car to make it handle better on the track. Another thing you could do to your suspension that's relatively inexpensive is sway bars. Now it's obviously vehicle specific whether you have rear wheel drive or front wheel drive or all wheel drive, but in my experience and my knowledge, we're gonna go and give an example for front wheel drive. Now basically what a sway bar is something that goes underneath the car, and like I said, I don't know much, but a sway bar is basically a strut tower brace but for the bottom that stiffens up the bottom. Now cars come stock with sway bars, but by adding an aftermarket sway bar it's a little bit thicker, therefore being stiffer. Now for front wheel drive cars, take out the front sway bar and put in a stiffer rear sway bar. Now the reason behind that is to minimize understeer and not maximize oversteer, but give you a little bit more oversteer so that when you're coming around a corner, that back end can come around with it. Not so much that you're gonna spin out, but just enough so that you don't have to deal with understeer. Now like I said, it's different for all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars, but that's something you guys are just gonna have to do your research on. Now this was part 2 of how to build a track car, going over the suspension. I hope I helped just a little bit. Now I'm very limited by the knowledge that I have, but I hope that I helped at least one person out there figure out what they can do to their car to help it perform better on the track. Thank you guys for watching this video today, guys. I will see you in the next one. See you later.